Hey, Healing Family. I wanted to talk a little bit about somatics in the role of neuroplasticity and healing today. I think there is a lot of buzz talk about somatics right now, and there are so many programs that make it seem so complicated. But in reality, somatics can be very simple. Somatics is this body centered approach to restoring health and emotional well being. So, really, at its core, somatics is movement, but recognizes that trauma and stress and chronic illness are not just stored in the mind, but also held in the nervous system and the body. So, if we engage our body in healing, especially with gentle, mindful movements, we are doing somatics. It doesn't have to be complicated or something that you need this big, expensive program for. So, the goal is to create opportunities for deeper transformation from both the brain, the nervous system, the body, and integrating all of them. This goes along really well with brain retraining because neuroplasticity is the term we use a lot in the brain retraining world, basically saying that the brain has this remarkable ability to reorganize, heal, form new neural connections all throughout our life. So we don't have to be stuck in old patterns, and even injury to the nervous system or brain can be healed. Our brain can rebuild. So through repeated intentional experiences, the brain can learn new responses, release any sort of old maladaptive patterns, and develop newer, healthier, more resilient pathways. Somatic practices, breathwork, dance, mindful walking, yoga, can activate new brain circuits, especially if we're not used to moving our body in certain ways. And the top three things that kind of help blend somatics and neuroplasticity are interoception, which is awareness of our internal bodily sensations, present moment attention, meaning we're not zoning out, we are fully engrossed in the movements and the motion, and then positive emotional engagements. We want to enjoy the movements, we want to boost our mood and associate positive mood and motivation with these movements. I also want to add here, as I love being out in nature, and I think that eco-psychology and nature is just so healing, is that when we spend time in nature, especially combining that with the movement or the breath work, it activates something called biophilia, which is an innate human connection to nature and living systems. And there have been a lot of studies showing that just being out in nature lowers cortisol, stress hormone levels, increases our parasympathetic rest and digest nervous system activity, reduces inflammation, boosts mood, and helps with executive functioning. So when they've done some of these neuroscience research studies, natural environments are found to stimulate the default mode network in healthier ways than urban settings. The default mode network is responsible for introspection, emotional processing. And if we talk about spending time in nature, like going for a mindful walk, we're supporting this default mode network. And additionally, exposure to fractal patterns in nature, like the visual effects that we're seeing in three-dimensional real time rather than on a screen, like tree branches or leaves or waves or seashells or acorns, sunflowers, all these beautiful fractal patterns, has been shown to reduce stress levels and promote calm through visual entrainment, which is a form of nervous system regulation. When we look at these gentle, concentrated movements, rhythmic, intentional movement like Tai Chi, dance, yoga, or just swaying or walking mindfully, we're also activating the sensory motor cortex, the vestibular system, and the vagus nerve. And these systems work together to regulate mood, perception of our environment and safety, and emotional resilience. Movement helps to calm the amygdala, our fear center. Rhythmic movement regulates the vagus nerve, which helps with anxiety, digestion, and inflammation. Proprioceptive input, such as feeling where your body is in space, builds trust and safety in your body. And joyful movement, like dance or yoga, releases dopamine and endorphins, which supports our motivation and healing. So when we pair these movements with mindfulness, movement becomes a powerful anchor for this present moment experience that we're having. It helps to reduce dissociation and anxiety and ruminative thinking. So I know personally I'm a big movement person, even though my job is to work on healing, mental health and mindfulness and yoga therapy. I'm not a really big like sit still and meditate kind of person. The movement for me is what anchors me and allows me to pull back those layers to truly be mindful and present. In trauma and chronic illness, the body often is stuck in fight, flight, or freeze or fawn loops. And somatic movements and nature-based movements can help to unstick the nervous system. It tells the brain, you are safe now, it's okay to let go, and it's okay to heal. In the book, Why Zebras Don't Get Ulcers, I forget the name of the author right now, but I have used that book since grad school, so I've been reading it for a while. The discussion is how in the animal kingdom, animals are constantly moving and dispersing cortisol and adrenaline, and they don't let those stress hormones and chemicals build up to lead to oxidative chronic stress. And I do think a big part of that is movement and motion. So the more that we're moving, the more that we are allowing our bodies to process our stress hormones and get them out of our system the way that we need to in order to feel healthy and feel our best. And over time, this tells our limbic system and our HPA axis to down-regulate hypervigilance. And we are more calm and have a more present mind, and we can open up pathways for healing. So I wanted to talk a little bit and give us 4 simple daily somatic practices that you can start using today, because it does not have to be complicated. So the first one is sigh it out, a somatic breath reset. So we're going to start by just taking a deep inhale, and then on our exhale, a loud open mouth sigh. However it feels good. It can sound however you want, but do this a few times. And you can really work on the inhale, tensing up your shoulders, and on the exhale, exaggerated, letting the shoulders drop. You can lift your arms up, and as you exhale, let them crash down. Whatever works to really exaggerate that sigh. So this works because sighing helps to discharge tension. It is a parasympathetic nervous system response. So if we simulate like forcing a sigh, it actually tricks the mind and body and nervous system into thinking, well, we must be relaxed, right? So it's sending a nice we are safe signal to our brain. It also helps us to have the exhale become a little bit longer and more powerful than the inhale, which again shifts us to parasympathetic state. And a nice audible noise like a sigh or a hum is going to work on stimulating our vagus nerve, which also helps us to shift into a healthier nervous system state. The second one is mindful micro walking. So even inside, we're going to walk very slowly, and we're going to feel our feet. Notice the heel, the arch, and the toes, every step that we take. And you can even say in your mind, I am here. This is now. I am safe. Having a cadence and a rhythm to your steps. This is grounding you in that proprioception, body awareness. Especially if we're in our bare feet, we are connecting and grounding to the earth beneath us. It's going to shift us out of mental loops and into the present, and soothing our limbic system and rewiring our stress responses. Number 3 is touch-based grounding. Maybe placing one hand on our chest and one on our belly, feeling that rise and fall of our breath. We are so disconnected from our bodies very often, so being able to feel that, maybe giving yourself a hug and just rubbing your arms, which is also bilateral stimulation, maybe holding a rock or, something that helps us to feel grounded, connected to nature. Touch activates these mechanicoreceptors in the skin that calm the nervous system and support self-regulation, grounding, help us prevent dissociation, brings us back into ourselves. When we're doing gentle self-touch or bilateral stimulation, this is also stimulating oxytocin, which is the hormone of safety and love and bonding. And number 4 is some micro movements with music. So it doesn't have to be a big dance move, but just putting on your favorite song and swaying or rolling your shoulders, moving your neck, or even going up and down on your heels and toes, or bigger dance movements or yoga movements, whatever your body's craving. Gentle movement paired with rhythm and music helps to discharge stored tension. It brings a sense of pleasure and joy into our bodies and our minds and our spirits, and it increases dopamine and helps to rewire these associations, so from stress to joy. So remember, you don't need an hour on the mat or a fancy coach or an expensive program to practice somatics. You just need a few intentional moments to say, like, body, I'm listening, I'm here, let's come home, let's reintegrate, let's reorient. So I hope this helps someone today. I hope you guys have a beautiful day full of healing and love, and I will talk to you all soon.